Right, hello, let's do a look at the Fatsias and some of the different types I'm growing and how they've done over winter. First things first, we've got some nice flowers coming out on a rhododendron, variegated type. Anyway, so we're starting here in the shade border, which does get sun this time of day. This is a Fatsia spider web. Looking at it, no damage at all through winter. No browning on the leaves, and we've got a couple of growth points in the middle. It is not hugely variegated. It was really white when I first got it. Maybe it's due to it does get morning sun, whether it's something to do with that or whether it's just sort of reverted back a bit, but we'll see what the new leaves come out like. So that's the Fatsia spider web, totally undamaged by winter. We've got a variegated, I say variegated again, there's hardly any variegation on it at all, just a few little white tips on the leaves. Again, pretty much no damage, there's a very slight bit on the leaf there. Looking a little bit yellowy, but I'm sure that'll, now it's warming up, that can uptake some nutrients, that'll green up a bit. New little leaf here's got a fair bit of variegation on it, and we've got obviously some new leaves coming out the centre there, so that's, again, we did have a mild winter. Standard green, again slight yellow and on some of the older leaves, but I would say untouched by winter again. That is pushing out new growth. Now this is the one, obviously with a lot of these fancier types they're not as hardy as the standard green form. Let's see if I can find a tag for this one. I can never remember the name, so I'd call it the camouflage Fatsia. Never looks as best this time of year. It does bounce back, so obviously the leaves are drooping down a bit. We've had some of the younger leaves actually die off brown. And actually no sign of growth in the middle, but I'm not concerned, because if we look at the past you can almost see there's a clear where the trunk is. We've got a first flush of leaves, and there's a sort of bare bit of trunk, and then we've got a second flush. So this has been in the ground for, the first winter was obviously the first flush or first summer, and a sort of bit of a gap in between, so this is a flush last year, so I'm guessing that's going to do the same again, where these ones can come off and that'll push out some new growth. Hopefully anyway. So it's quite a nice one. So there's 4 different types there. Then we've got the Fatsia polycarpa. Which is looking pretty good. We've got a little bit of damage on one leaf. There's more insect damage, I think, than cold damage. So that again is done pretty good. And then coming to the back here, we've got another variegated in the ground. So let's just tuck ourselves in. This one's got a bit more nice variegation in it. We have got a couple of leaves with a bit of damage. We've got some quite browny crispy there, and a little bit of crispiness on that leaf. Apart from that, it's looking pretty good. Pushing out new growth. So that is that for the, so what are we on, 5 different types. Coming over here, another shady area underneath the Trachycarpus here. Got another spider's web. This is showing a bit more of the classic spider web variegation on it. That's obviously 0 damage. It's sort of tucked away in the canopy, so that's fine. But this is the, you start getting into the crosses. So this is Fats hedera or Fats hedra, cross between ivy and a Fatsia, and this is the variegated form. And the leaves are, you know, decent size really, and quite nicely patterned. And this is put on a fair bit of growth. Very, very slight damage on the top leaves, but again, pushing lots of new growth on that. So that is, yeah, quite a nice form, nice patterned leaves. And like I say, pretty decent sized leaves really. So that is pretty much in full shade. It gets a bit of filtered light, but so that is that one. And then we've got a plain green Fats hedera, which was planted in full sun, which that's before I knew really much about them. So this was planted when I didn't really know much about the tropicals and certain plants, so I chucked it there because I had a gap. I thought it was a bit of a climber, which it sort of is, but yeah, so it's in full sun, but even so that's doing okay. It's leaves are a little bit sort of wrinkled up, but it seems to tolerate it. Loads of growth points on that. And there's the stem or trunk, if you like. So that did blow over when we had the strong winds a few weeks or a month or two ago, when we had that nasty storm. That blew off the trellis and leant right over, and it did snap a lot of the top growth off, which I took the opportunity just to whack in a pot, and they are starting to grow, so they're quite easy to take cuttings from in that respect. And then another standard Fatsia here, again in full sun, planted before I knew better, if you like. So you do tend to get, when there's a lot of sun, some quite sort of weird deformed leaves, but it gives it character. I wouldn't say the leaves are huge on this one, but obviously in the shade the leaves get bigger, but they're not tiny, but not much bigger than my hand. But again, no damage on that. So that is a brief look at the different types of Fatsia I'm growing and how they fared through winter. So there's basically 5 types of Fatsia I'm growing, and 2 types of Fats hedera. I don't know if there's any other variations about. I'll keep my eyes open, and we'll leave it at that for now. Thanks for watching.